Kennedy's critics say he is waging a war on science. Well, here to respond in part is FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. Great to have you back on the show. So President Trump says he has seen information from Pfizer that is extraordinary, as he calls it, but that hasn't been made public. What exactly is he talking about?
Well, I can tell you, Elizabeth, that we just came out of an era where science was used as political propaganda, and we have not had updated data on the COVID vaccine in the randomized controlled trial fashion that the FDA typically requires in 4 or 5 years. Well, it's a very different time now. We have broad population immunity. It's a different virus. And yes, when Operation Warp Speed was conducted, you had a vaccine that was a very good match with the circulating strain at the time and low levels of natural immunity. But what about today? Does a 12-year-old girl need 60 more COVID shots in her average lifespan? If we're being honest, the answer is we don't know. And the medical community has not shown that humility to say that.
But what is this information that Trump is saying that he's seeing that the public is not seeing? Because he's demanding that drug companies now justify the success of the vaccines, because as he's put it, many people think they're a miracle and others disagree. Then he wrote, the CDC is being ripped apart over this question. So is the CDC and the FDA not getting the information that Trump is getting on the COVID vaccine?
Well, I can only speak for myself, Elizabeth, and when I see data presented to me, it is often salami sliced and cut and subgroups, and it's an observational study, not a proper clinical trial. So what I can report to you is that we have an agreement now with the large vaccine makers that make the COVID vaccine that they will conduct a randomized control placebo trial and have those results back to us by May. That is, they're going to do it this winter, because it's been 4 or 5 years and the American people want to know, are we supposed to keep going like this?
Right.
A lot of people report vaccine injury. A lot of people report complications, including children who have died from the vaccine. So we can't just be blind. We are collecting all the data that we have that's been reported to the FDA and CDC through the VAERS database, and we're also asking the companies to go do this trial in healthy subjects, because we think that is a different group than high-risk individuals, where we narrowed the label indication, which renders vaccine mandates legally impossible.
But we should note that vaccine injury and, God forbid, vaccine deaths have been a very, very small minority of the hundreds of millions of people who've taken this vaccine.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans describe vaccine injury. 25% of clinicians know of somebody that's been significantly disabled or died from a vaccine. I know of 3 people who have died from the COVID vaccine, not personally, but through a physician or friend that has had a first-degree contact with someone who has had a vaccine complication. We know there's a risk of myocarditis in young, healthy men. That's 1 in 2,600 young boys. So, when people use these blanket terms, they're ignoring the very nuanced question in medical science, and that is, do the benefits outweigh the risks? That is the question. Not let's blindfold ourselves and insist that everybody take this. Look at the last administration, rubber stamping COVID boosters every year with no updated clinical trial. And we said we're not going to keep going down this road. We don't believe in COVID vaccine boosters forever unless we have evidence to support it. We're bringing back gold standard science and common sense.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.